We have some interesting topics today, so let's get started. First up, we have some awesome news for Spider-Man Homecoming, which is going to be such a treat to watch on screen. If you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming, you know how great Vulture is. One of the best MCU villains to date. He has great motivation, he has a good backstory, he has good connections to the character, and he has just an overall good screen time, and he's implemented very well. You sort of actually feel bad for him from the backstory and all the stuff you get from him. So recently we have gotten some news on Spider-Man Homecoming 2, which is going to be the villain. We know what the villain is now, and it's going to be Mysterio. Now Mysterio is very much not much of a physical brawn force like Vulture was. He is more of an illusionist. He tricks people, he tricks his enemies, and that's how he fights. Now this could lead to some crazy stuff happening on screen. It could be, we could see tigers, we could see just tsunamis coming out of nowhere, we could see a lot of cool and just crazy stuff on screen. That's what I meant by it would be such a treat to watch on screen. If you haven't watched the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, they actually show Mysterio in it fighting Spider-Man. So I'll play a clip right now that'll kind of give us an idea of what we could see in Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or whatever they're going to be calling this movie. Now, what I'm hoping is that Mysterio is the main bad guy, because I don't want to see Mysterio be thrown to the wayside for another villain like how Shocker was in Spider-Man Homecoming 1. They didn't really implement him too well, in my opinion at least, and I was hoping that he was at least a better side villain in Spider-Man Homecoming 1, but that's what we got. Now, if they make him the main villain, I hope he's at least as good as Vulture, or maybe even better. That would be great if he was better than Vulture, because the thing about Mysterio is that he has a very cheesy way, at least from what I've been exposed to from the villain in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, which I rewatched the whole thing not too long ago. And it's very cheesy, so I hope they still have that kind of Shakespearean talking way, but make it in a menacing way to where it's kind of like Vulture, how in that car scene he was very menacing to Peter, and he was menacing to the audience too. I hope they can figure out a way to make it like that, so that we'll just have another great villain in the MCU like Thanos. Well, not like Thanos. I don't think you can get any better than Thanos, but who knows. Now, keeping up with the Spider-Man Homecoming news, it seems that Vulture is going to be back in Spider-Man Homecoming 2. And this is great, because he was, of course, like I said before, a great villain. So the fact that they're adding him in Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is great, but the question is how will they implement him? We know he's in jail right now, and we know at the end scene credit he met up with Scorpion. So are they going to be doing a Sinister Six type of deal, or is he going to be just like a side character like how Shocker was in Spider-Man Homecoming? I hope not. I hope they find a way to implement him in a good way. We know that Sony was gonna do a Sinister Six movie, so maybe Marvel picked that idea up and is making their own Sinister Six movie, which would be very interesting and very fun to watch, because we haven't really got villain movies that much in the MCU. While Avengers Infinity War was kind of Thanos' movie, it wasn't completely his movie. So it would be interesting to see a movie focused on the villain instead of the hero, because we usually get hero movies in the MCU movie. Moving on, we have two new photos for the DCEU. One that's Aquaman's costume for a solo movie, and one for Shazam. It should be on screen right now. This one looks really good. The costume looks like it's made from stuff that's found in the ocean, and it looks dangerous to boot. The great thing about this costume is that it's different enough from the Amazonian costumes that it looks like an ancient civilization would wear in the DCEU, but it still looks like it could work on screen if they ever wanted to do an Amazonian versus the Atlanteans. Now, my next question for the Aquaman movie would have to be, are they going to keep with this bro type attitude or surfer type attitude in the movie or not? Because honestly, in Justice League, it was way overplayed and kind of damaged the character in my opinion. I mean, it was just way overplayed, and I hope they don't overdo it in Aquaman. I hope they quell it. Now, if they can quell it and make it less than what it was in Justice League, that would be actually pretty cool. But if they overdo it, I think it might actually be a negative instead of a positive. The second photo is on Shazam's costume, which if you didn't know, I did a breakdown of it, which will be in the description link below, so check that out for further details. But a quick rundown about it is it's a promo that shows Shazam drinking some kind of drink like a little kid. Now, as I've said before, this makes sense for Shazam because Shazam is Billy Batson is Shazam. Shazam. And Billy Batson is a kid, so when he's turned into Shazam, he still keeps that, you know, kid-like tendencies in his head, and he still acts out like he would if he was Billy Batson and not Shazam. So it makes sense. Now, what I'm hoping for is that they don't fill the marketing up with this, because I still want to have those awesome, cool, heroic posters that we get with these kind of movies. But I'm sure they're smart enough to not, you know, do that. Of course they're gonna have those heroic posters. They have to. It's a superhero movie. And last up, we have some exciting news for Zombieland 2. Now, Zombieland 1 came out a long time ago, and over the years, we've had little inklings of news and here and there saying that, oh, it's going to be a movie, it's not going to be a movie, it's going back and forth. But now we are actually getting some word from the writers of the movie, and they're saying that they are hoping that we could see a sequel early next year. This is actually extremely interesting, because that means that if it's early next year, that's pretty close. So does that mean the script is actually pretty far along and we could hear more news about this very soon, or is it not? Zombieland was a very, very great movie, and I loved watching it, and I still watch it till this day. So I can't wait to see the sequel and what it entails. And apparently it's going to be actually follow the cast from the original Zombielands, which it will most likely have a time skip because the cast is a little bit older and it would make a lot more sense. Alright guys, tell me what you think about this video and what you think about today's planet-sized news. And as always, have a good one. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you like what you see and you like what you hear, hit that like button and share it among your fellow peers. Remember to hit that subscribe button too. And as always, have a good one.